This mysterious entity, not tied to any religious system, yet allowing all to join her ranks, operates on her own in the maturity of the mother harlot, presenting herself as a Judeo-Christian organization. She has all the markings of Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots, and claims in her own publications to originate at Babel. She is not headquartered at Rome, but has moved much farther west. We can trace her movement by means of Revelation 18, verse 24, quote, "In her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth." End quote. Her final goal is a universal brotherhood governed by a global political system under her idolatrous command. She is the harlot of Revelation, riding upon the political beast. Her exit from the Catholic Church began with the Protestant Reformation, and Martin Luther's personal seal was the emblem of the Rosy Cross. The Protestant Reformation and Carpenter revolutions of our modern era, which had their beginnings 3 centuries ago, were the only avenues of escape from the progressively despotic Roman Church, which was in union with equally despotic European kings in what is called the Old World Order. You see, to have a new world order, we must have had an old world order, and that is it. Together they had created for their subjects such untenable conditions that a new world order was soon to throw off the yoke of oppression.
The savagery of the Inquisitions, performed in the name of Jesus Christ by vain and pompous popes, made barbarians look like gentle lambs. As a result, pagans who had converted to Christianity for convenience began to form secret societies to protect themselves. Protestants fought in the open. Thus the Reformation arose from not only Protestant Christians, but protesting pagans as well. When Mystery Babylon could no longer control the Vatican, she exited the Catholic Church during the Reformation and buried her conspiracy in secret societies with the intent of destroying the Church through political revolution. These secret societies had existed since the days of ancient Babylon, but never had they penetrated the European continent, at least not as far as religion was concerned, the religion of Christianity, until the Crusades. Freemasonry became the largest and most enduring secret society to house Mystery Babylon. Through Masonic lodges, the whore of Babylon achieved her revolutionary goals. In the Reformation, Masonry severed its connection with Catholicism, end quote. Quote, "Indeed, we have not duly considered how truly Masonry, in its modern form, was a child of the Reformation, allied as it was with the movement, or group of movements, out of which came the freedom of the peoples, the liberty of conscience, and the independence of manhood," end quote. And remember, their goal from the beginning was to destroy all existing religions, destroy all existing governments, and shackle the mob. What was to come out of this? A one-world government ruled by them. Who is them? They are the ones identified by the number of 666. Those who have fulfilled the 3 degrees in 6 acts of the initiation of Mystery Babylon. Jezebelism, or Mystery Babylon, in the Catholic Church around 1520 AD. It was during this time, 1534, that King Henry VIII insisted that Parliament replace the Catholic Church in England with the Church of England. Every British monarch since has usurped the position of the Pope as head of the state church. In 1688, the English Masonic Glorious Revolution did not alter the king's position. Instead, Freemasonry took control of the church. The Church of England has been a stronghold of Freemasonry for more than 200 years, end quote. In the 1950s, the Archbishop of Canterbury, 16 bishops, and more than 500 Anglican priests were Freemasons. French, October 1953, said, quote, "It is absolutely useless for a Frenchman to try to understand English Masonry unless he realizes that the Crown, the Anglican Church, and the United Grand Lodge of England are one God in three persons," end quote. What Jesus Christ condemned in the church at Rome, the Church of England embraced. On June 24, 1717, 4 London Masonic lodges united in the Grand Lodge, then established the claim that English Freemasonry is rooted at Babylon, with Nimrod as its founder. This is also the date Freemasonry purports that the Catholic Church began to lose its hold on kingdoms. Grand Master Del Pec said, quote, "The Church of Rome, based on the Galilean myth, began to decline rapidly from the very day on which the Masonic Association was established," end quote. In 1737, English Freemasonry established the tradition of making her kings honorary heads of the Grand Lodge. This move, in effect, made British monarchs priest-kings of modern Mystery Babylon. Even when French Freemasonry forced the separation of church and state in all its revolutions, English Freemasonry remains in control of church and state to this day. In summary, the Roman Empire represents the Babylonian monarchical system of rule extended to medieval Europe, under which Jews suffered. And when the European horns were cast out by the Carpenter revolutions, Jews were emancipated, church was separated from state, and the Babylonian system shifted from Rome to London. In the text referred to as Mystery Babylon and the beast is prophesied. You see, there are two powers. The history and end-time destruction of Mystery Babylon is recorded in Revelation 17 and 18. In chapter 17, verses 1 through 9, the Apostle John describes scarlet as shown to him by Jesus Christ. Now remember, he's describing scarlet. And remember, there are really three factions warring against each other. One is certain to be a member of one of the other two, or both, always, because that is the only way it can continue to exist. So, in effect, we see two powers warring against each other, and a third jealous of the power of the other two, but skipping back and forth according to whichever helps it the most, has managed to survive, and will, in fact, seat its representative upon the throne of the world, eventually, according to my research. Quote, "I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and the beast that carrieth her, which hath 7 heads and 10 horns, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. End quote. Goetz states that modern Mystery Babylon will not be a church of watered-down Christianity, but rather must be a secret organization which practices what he calls witchcraft. A close look at the Greek. You see, the Greek word for mystery means, quote, to shut the mouth. This definition concurs with the meaning of the Hebrew word for carpenters in Zechariah's vision at the beginning of the chapter, quote, to devise, in a bad sense. The initiation into religious rites in all Babylonian mystery religion includes taking blood oaths of silence. For those who take the oaths, if one is to believe their veracity, a cruel death is administered if silence is not maintained. After the oath is taken, the worshipful master of the lodge says to the senior deacon, he is bound to us by an obligation, a tie stronger than human hands can impose. Who imposes this inhuman tie but Satan, the master deceiver? James chapter 5 verse 12 warns Christians against taking such secret oaths because they are deception. The Greek word for the type of condemnation of which James speaks means deceit, lies, deception, manipulation, what I have warned you against all this time. Deceit is at the heart of Freemasonry, according to the greatest Freemason of all time, Albert Pike. In fact, in Morals and Dogma, Pike writes that in the Blue Degrees, the initiate is intentionally misled. Something more than deception binds the initiate when he takes the blood oaths. Oswald Worth, a well-known 33rd degree French Grand Lodge Mason, confirms in his book, The Ideal Initiate, 1927, that the act of taking the Masonic oath is, in fact, selling one's soul to the devil. Revelation chapter 18, verse 11 and 13 confirms that Mystery Babylon buyeth the souls of men. This purchase is made by Satan through the initiate's own blood when he takes the Masonic oath.
Announced in Revelation chapter 18, verse 23, quote, By thy sorceries were all nations deceived, end quote. Let me say that one more time. By thy sorceries were all nations deceived. This verse unveils Mystery Babylon's control of the manufacturing and trafficking of illegal drugs worldwide. I can see you out there shaking your heads. Cooper's lost it. He's crazy. How could he possibly get that meaning out of that verse? By thy sorceries were all nations deceived. It's very simple, folks. Four Greek words are used to define sorceries as used in the scripture that I just read. They are, 1, pharmakeia, meaning magic medication in the practice of witchcraft. 2, pharmakeias and pharmakon, meaning a magician or sorcerer who manufactures and sells spell-giving potions. And 3, pharmakos, having the same meaning as pharmakon. In no other place in the entire Bible, except in reference to Mystery Babylon, are these Greek words for sorcery used in the sense they are here to indicate the manufacture, sale, and consumption of drugs. From them come our English form of pharmacist, pharmacy, and pharmaceutical. We have already outlined the tradition and history of sorcery and drug use in both Freemasonries in previous episodes of the Hour of the Time. We suggested the extent of English Freemasonry's post-World War II drug empire, and we have traced the horror of Babylon's universal control of growing, manufacturing, distributing, and financing illegal drugs for the express purpose of deceiving the world into accepting her New Age Antichrist. English Freemasonry's involvement with illicit drugs may be the strongest evidence that today London is home for Mystery Babylon. She is not only a harlot religion, but the mother, if you will, the firstborn of Babylon and the progenitor of all false religions. Therefore, she is called Mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots. As we have revealed, English Freemasonry, the mother of all Freemasonry, claims from her own writings, from her own mouth, her roots in ancient Babylon. With over 9,000 temple lodges scattered throughout most nations of the world, and with over 7,000 in Great Britain alone, including 1,700 in London, English Freemasonry is the largest harlot religion on earth today. Moreover, this modern whore of Babylon has given birth to hundreds of modern secret societies, cults, think tanks, and a variety of political orders. Edith Miller names many of the offspring of English Freemasonry, and I'm going to give you the names of some of these. In England, the Societas Rosicruciana in Anglia, the Ancient and Primitive Rite of Memphis, the Theosophical Society, the Order of the Golden Dawn, Stella Matutina, the Fabian Society, the Round Table Groups, and many others. In Germany, the Illuminati, the Strict Observance, the Martinist Order, the Tugendbunds, the Anthroposophical Society, the Ordo Templi Orientalis, called the OTO, and the Thule Society. In France, the Scottish Rite, the French Grand Lodge, Grand Orients, Jacobins, Communism, Socialism, Alliance Israelite Universale, the League of Nations, the European Economic Community, and the United States of Europe. In Italy, the Carbonari, the Young Societies, the Propaganda Duo, also known as P2, the drug running lodges, and, of course, the Mafia. And that accounts for the cooperation between the Mafia and the secret society-run intelligence community in the United States of America and in other countries. In Russia, the Nihilists, the Anarchists, and the Soviet Union. In Muslim countries, they are known as the Muslim Brotherhood. In America, the Scottish Rite, the York Rite, the Eastern Star, the Shriners, Oddfellows, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Christian Science, B'nai B'rith, the Ku Klux Klan, the Lucis Trust, the OTO, which is Ordo Templi Orientalis, the Process Church, the Church of Scientology, the National Council of Churches, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the United Nations, and their spawn, the New Age movement. Grand Orient Freemason, Brother J.C. Corneloup, Grand Commander of Honor of the Grand College of Rites, confirms in his writing 3 that English Freemasonry claims motherhood to all Freemasonry. And this is what he says, quote, "The bitterness between the two Freemasonries clearly reveals that London considered that it was the Mother Grand Lodge, and that all the others were subsidiaries whom it wanted to keep in its dependence, the sign of a strong desire to set up universality to its exclusive profit. 200 years after this struggle broke out, we still find as lively a spirit of hostility, though couched in less truculent terms, on the part of the Grand Lodge of England with regard to French Masonry, apparently concentrated against the Grand Orient of France, but equally apparent against the Grand Lodge of France. The fact is that we are confronted with two organizations, sprung from the same stock, operative Masonry, and palpably born at the same time, mid-1600s, and in the same country, England, but which have evolved differently because one developed in powerful middle-class intellectual and aristocratic surroundings, that's English Freemasonry, and the other in a much more democratic climate amongst the common man, French Freemasonry. Therefore, the United Grand Lodge of England, it could even, priding itself on being the mother lodge from which all others have sprung, claim to put this universality into practice to its own profit, with the right to dominate the whole of Masonry. London claims the right to lay down Masonic law. The United Grand Lodge of England claims to dominate the Masonic world, to be the sovereign judge of the authenticity of the different Masonic powers, and to impose its law upon them, confident in its powers of intimidation, which it has skillfully cultivated, and owing to the pusillanimous ignorance of the leaders of the different obediences, who are afraid of the least suggestion of a rupture. But what is their aim, or rather their dream? They want to make the Mother Grand Lodge the unique sovereign authority over the whole of Masonry throughout the world, in order to condemn every group suspected of being able to overshadow it, to qualify every independent obedience as irregular and schismatic, and above all, to destroy, or at the very least, to isolate enemy number one, the Grand Orient of France, which for 190 years has been regarded as a dangerous rival, end quote.